What's going on, everyone? So yesterday we got a report from Shams that the Raptors and the Pacers are active in trade talks centered around two-time All-Star Pascal Siakam for a package that includes 3 first-round picks, league sources said. Then there was a whole article about it, and it looked like it was close. I mean, people were talking about it like it was a done deal. It looked like it was centered around Bruce Brown, as well as 3 firsts, and then whatever salary filler would be needed for those contracts. Maybe it'd be the inclusion of Buddy Hield. Maybe it'd be a multi-team deal, right? Maybe the Toronto Raptors would be willing to part with some other pieces. Who knows? Time will tell. And Pascal Siakam, I mean, he's a interesting commodity, right? Because there are various concerns. Pascal Siakam, there have been several reports now that Siakam isn't going to re-sign anywhere he goes, that he wants to test free agency and he wants to get out in the open market and try to get the most money, the most return, right? It's the way that his contract would be structured. Now, any team that goes to trade for Pascal Siakam would be in a tough situation, right? Because if Siakam leaves, that's it. You're done, right? You traded whatever you traded to go get him, and now you're left with nothing. And that could be a really bad position for the Indiana Pacers, for any team that potentially would be looking to trade Siakam. But on the surface, I mean, Siakam's an incredible player, right? He's 29 years old. He's 6'8", got a 7'3" wingspan. He's got good size, good strength. He's got just enough athleticism, right? He can defend multiple positions. He can play multiple positions. He can be your primary or even secondary playmaker at times. He's a guy that is extremely versatile and would be very helpful in the right situation on the right basketball team. I mean, even this year, 39 games, 39 started. He's averaging 35 minutes per game. In that time, he's shooting 52.2% from the field on 16 attempts. Now, from three-point range, it's been rough this season. He's only shooting, will be nice and round up to 32% on 3.7 attempts. Although the last, about 5 to 7 games, something like that, he's shooting around 50%. He was just a couple weeks ago shooting around 28% from 3. So he's really brought that up. And then from 2-point range, 58.4%. But beyond that, I mean, this is a guy, 6 rebounds, 22 points per game, 5 assists, a steal, half a block, right? This is a guy that could add so much versatility. Now, there's a couple things, right? Now, since that report, there have been some reports that the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks have both touched base with the Indiana Pacers. So, touch base with the Toronto Raptors. What that could mean is that the Toronto Raptors maybe threw that report out there to kind of try to create a bidding war, because there are several teams that have been reported interested in Siakam. And Siakam kind of tanked his value, right? By telling everybody hey, I'm not re-signing anywhere I get traded. So how many teams are lining up to go and trade for Siakam, give this huge return? So we don't know for certain if Indiana was truly willing to give up 3 firsts and Bruce Brown plus filler, right? That's just kind of what was reported. But if you read the article, it kind of is it's very speculatory, right? It's not a concrete thing. It's not something that was I spoke with the Pacers GM and this is what they offered. This very well could have just been a leverage play from the Toronto Raptors to get teams like Golden State, like the Dallas Mavericks, to start upping the pool, right? Because it's hey, we're about to trade him to the Indiana Pacers unless you're willing to match it. And it's going to be 3 firsts. Now, I'm curious to see what that would entail, right? Would the Warriors give up Kuminga, whoever, Andrew Wiggins, whatever filler you need, and then 3 firsts? It's a lot for Pascal Siakam. I mean, even from the Indiana Pacers standpoint, when I saw the report of 3 firsts plus Bruce Brown plus whatever salary filler, I was that's a lot on a gamble. Because it is, for any team, it is a gamble. Now, you're hoping that you trade for him. He kind of does a Paul George, right? Many of you may remember Paul George when he went to Oklahoma City. Everyone thought he was going to the Lakers. that he was going to leave for the Lakers. The Lakers didn't trade for Paul George because they believed he was coming in free agency. And because the Thunder traded and gave up assets for Paul George felt like, hey, they're the ones that basically took the chance on me. Let me reward them by re-signing. That's kind of the hope. That's kind of what I'm assuming the Indiana Pacers or any team that's trying to trade for Siakam, right? Because look at a team like the Warriors, right? The Warriors could desperately use somebody like Pascal Siakam. But even if the Warriors get Siakam right now, is he going to be enough right now midway through the season to all of a sudden make you a contender? Probably not. The Warriors are currently the 12th seed. They are a game and a half out of 10th. And they are a good, 5 and a half games out of 6th. That's a lot of games that they would have to make up, even if they got Siakam. So if you're the Warriors, it'd be one thing if the Warriors were like the 2 seed or the 3 seed. And it was like they were really good. And it's kind of like, okay, Siakam could be the piece that takes us over the top and has us win this year. Then it's like basically what Toronto did with the Kawhi Leonard situation, right? We got 1 year and 1 shot on this. Let's go do it. And if we win, great. If we don't, we'll figure it out from there, right? If it was a situation like that, or the Dallas Mavericks, right? I mean, Dallas is the 5th seed, and they're still a good 2.5, 3.5 games out of 3rd. Does Siakam really put them in a position to where now they're better? I mean, especially with Dallas's offense, where they like to spread the floor with Luka, kind of run, 5 wide with Luka operating, being so on ball, and then Kyrie, I don't really know how I feel about Siakam's fit on the Mavs. But even then, even if it works great, is Siakam the piece that puts the Mavericks over? Is that worth taking the chance, taking the gamble? Are you willing to give up a bunch of picks and stuff like that to do so? That's a real concern. So it does make sense that the Indiana Pacers would go, okay, well, let's go make a push. We can try to get him. If we end up trading for him, we can convince him to stay. It's kind of what it looks like. That's kind of the idea, right? But again, it's still a real gamble. It's still a real risk. So could it be that the Toronto Raptors put out that report, told Shams, hey, this is what Indiana offered us, which may or may not be true, but, you throw it out there, and all of a sudden you get the reports. Dallas is interested. The Warriors have touched base. All these teams all of a sudden are touching base. All these teams all of a sudden are like, hey, what would it take? Can we get in on this? Right? Would you rather have this? I mean, and who knows if Indiana even made that offer? Look, Indiana has been linked to Siakam for months now. I mean, even when the murmurs first started, right? When it was oh, Toronto may be interested in trading Siakam, immediately the Indiana Pacers were one of the big names. Indiana wanted to go after a Siakam and OG Anunoby, right? They want to go get that defensive 3-and-D wing that can kind of elevate the team, right? Because they have basically everything else. You got your superstar point guard, Tyrese Halliburton, who's just been absolutely ridiculous, right? You got Buddy Hield, you got Mathurin, right? You probably trade Buddy Hield. Bruce Brown, if you trade Bruce Brown, which apparently the Indiana Pacers want to keep him. They don't want to trade Bruce Brown in any type of deal. So it's what else are you going to get? Because Siakam's not making $15 million, right? Siakam, you're going to have to trade a lot to get to him. It's not an easy salary to get to him, right? He's making $37 million, almost $38 million this year. Literally, you're talking Bruce Brown and Buddy Hield to get to Pascal Siakam's salary. So I just don't see a scenario where they're going to be able to make that happen without trading Bruce Brown. But you never know. Time will tell. But again, let's say you have to trade Bruce Brown. Let's say you have to trade Buddy Hield. You still have Tyrese Halliburton. You got Mathurin. You'd have Pascal Siakam, right? Or you could, put Pascal Siakam at the 4, however you want to go about it, right? you'd have plenty of options and flexibility with Pascal Siakam, which is what the beauty of this roster is. Okay, and then let's say you put him at the 3. You could have Obi Toppin, Jalen Smith, whomever, right? And then you'd have Miles Turner holding it down at the 5 spot, right? Like, that's a pretty good position for them to be in, right? Like, or you go with, Aaron Nesmith. He's another option, right? Especially with Siakam and his versatility. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, right? Because the Indiana Pacers, 1, are they really going to take the risk? 2, are they really going to pay that much to take that risk? 3, does Pascal Siakam fit and make sense? Because Tyrese Halliburton is so good with the basketball in his hands, right? And yes, it would be nice for Indiana to kind of have that secondary playmaker, that like extender beyond Halliburton. But, like, how's the fit? How's it work? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And plus, they're going to have to pay Siakam like $40 million a year. I don't know. Time will tell. But look, maybe the deal gets done. Maybe while you're watching this video, the deal's done. Right? It's just because it hasn't happened yet. Again, the report said that they were in talks. Right? And a lot of people took that as like, oh, it's done. It's over. Lots of talks fall through. Lots of things don't happen. So we'll see. Time will tell. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think that it ends up happening ultimately? Do you think no? Clearly, if it was going to happen, it would happen last night. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.